What's up, everyone? It's Willette with Urbex and Coasters, and today I am at Dunreal, my first park of the Europe trip. So these are going to be my first 3 credits in Europe, and I was looking at the coasters here, and actually we're going to be riding something very similar to Rock Bottom Plunge. So yeah, we'll get to enjoy that, and that'll be a very analogous thing of Europe versus America. So let's go check it out. And then we've got our park mascot right here. Try to make it so that these people are not in the shot that are right here, but here's a shot of the garden. Wait for this. And then, all right, video. All right, here we go. This is our first time experiencing a jump track, everyone. Here we go. Woo! Yeah! Woo! That was awesome. And gotta wait for it to stop. Gotta wait for the ride to come to a complete stop and press that white button.
Hij lag me wat zwaar op de maag. Wat is er toch met me vandaag? Ik zit
Ooh, this reminds me of Pizza Time Theater with Chuck E. Cheese. This is an old Chuck E. Cheese thing. So I do want to point out that we've got rides here that have no operator. Like, never in America would you see that. Like, there is no supervisor to make sure that guests are behaving appropriately, because here, I mean, you're not going to have things like a group of 4 boys trying to play how far can we kick our shoes and require an operator to stop the ride because of how they're misbehaving. And no, that example did not come from nowhere. And here is our first no coaster of the trip, Kiekerbaan. It is new for 2026, and it is a Vekoma. No, it is a Zaire. It is a Zaire, and we are going to be riding it, so let's get to it. And I will let you have a look at the theming elements inside here. Look at that. Don't typically see that on a coaster like this. So I think I might have said the wrong name. It's Kiekerbaan. It's Kiekerbaan here for this new for 2026 coaster. And you can see the ride that it replaced right here, which is still on the roller coaster database, I believe. And then we've got a Gerstlauer Eurofighter, which has a beyond vertical drop, a top speed of 70 kilometers per hour, a vertical loop, a cutback, and a heartline roll. Does that sound familiar? Because it should, because I just described Rock Bottom Plunge, which we rode, and there it is. We are gonna get on this thing, and we'll be able to compare how it runs to Rock Bottom Plunge. So, I actually got something wrong with the order of our parks. I was thinking we had 3 coasters at today's park, and we do have 3 coasters, but there was not a mouse at today's park. That's tomorrow's park. So, this ride is actually not what Kiekerbaan replaced. That ride actually was removed. It's not still standing here waiting to be removed. So this ride is operating, and they have some cool thematic elements about dragonflies. This is a 2012 Gerstlauer family coaster, and let's check it out. Let's see how it compares to Fire Chaser Express. And as you can see, we've got some theming in here with these dragonflies. I'm gonna try to not get any people in the shots. I can let you pause to read that at any point that you want. So we just got off of Falcon, and I confidently can say I liked it better than Rock Bottom Plunge because there was less trimming on it. It seems to be running a little smoother. I will say that cutback is a little jarring, but other than that, Falcon over there, it's a good first Gerstlauer of the Europe Gerstlauers. I was excited to experience the Europe Gerstlauers, but I mean, here I am where the first Europe Gerstlauer is very similar to the one I rode less than a week ago. So that's funny, but also it's good to be able to compare them. Okay, so this is going to be my final thoughts on this coaster area. So you can see the two Gerstlauers right next to each other. I mean, it shows you how much research I didn't do on these parks, and I wanted to be surprised that I thought Dragonfly for a minute when we got here was the Zaire that the new Zaire replaced, and so glad we got on that as our first ride, because if you remember when we were at Lagoon, it is a tire drive lift and it is raining today, so yeah, we got on it before it went down because of rain, and it's probably down for the day, so that could have been a missed credit of this trip if we had not got on it. So good thing we got on that. And then Dragonfly here, this is actually a really good Gerstlauer family coaster. Like, I would say this ride is better than the one at Adventure City, the family boomerang equivalent. And it's got a few little pops of airtime, and it's got a really interesting anti-rollback system. I'm gonna show that off. I'm gonna try not to get faces in the shots, but I do want to show how the anti-rollbacks work. Alrighty, so you can look at those anti-rollbacks like that. That's interesting that's how they work, And like I mentioned, of course, the main thrill coaster here is a Gerstlauer Eurofighter with a top speed of 70 kilometers an hour that has 3 inversions, a vertical loop, a cutback, and a heartline roll. Does that sound familiar to anything that we have done this week? Because it should, because that's exactly a description of Rock Bottom Plunge. However, I will say I think Falcon is the better ride because it runs smoother than Rock Bottom Plunge. I would imagine that has to do with either maintenance or less operating days or what have you, but also Falcon does not have the mid-course, so I would say it doesn't suffer from what I call wicked syndrome, of where after the mid-course the ride really does nothing despite having an awesome first half sort of thing. So yeah, that's gonna do it from the coaster area here at Dunreal. And I will see you guys at our next, and I will be taking more footage here throughout the park because there is a lot to see here beyond just the 3 coasters. Okay, so we've got a Frisbee here. It's got a windmill topper to it. You'll see a lot of windmills in this area, but something that I have noticed about this ride is that it spins really fast. Like, of these Frisbees, this has the best spin. Its max swing only reaches like I'd guess like a 60 or 70 degree angle, so it doesn't have a huge max swing, but its spin is really good. So you actually you're like ejected out of the seat for airtime, or you're ejected back into the seat with that the entire time. It is a great Frisbee. I would say this might beat Fireball for my number 1 Frisbee. So, knowing that this replaced a Zaire Tivoli, you can look at this, and I believe it reused all the footers. So that's pretty cool that it reused all those footers. So yeah, you can take a look at that, and that is pretty cool. Never in America. Never in America. You just walk right on. So I want to show off this machinery inside. So we've got that here. This is a drive system, I believe. And then we've got the band organ here, which sadly is not running. I would love to hear what this thing sounds like, because, I mean, I love these band organs. Let's see if we can see the inner workings, see if the mechanism to make it work is there. I don't know if you can see through that. Alrighty, so we are on the Ferris wheel, and you can see the area where a lot of the thrill rides are is over there. You've got all of your coasters over there. Then we've got some European playgrounds. We've got our indoor water park. Got a Gerstlauer Skyfly there. I had much better luck on this one than I did on the one at Mall of America. So definitely a cool thing to have. And you can see the indoor water park there. You can see the playground down there, and see what else can we see. We've got some bumper boats over there. It looks like there's a toboggan slide back there that is unfortunately closed due to the weather, but you know, that's something that hopefully we'll be able to get on later. Hopefully it dries off enough. And then there's this ride that looks like a kiddie train back there. Highly recommend if you come here. That is a dark ride, not a kiddie train. So I'm now gonna cut to footage of that. Easier to pedal than Maury's, I can tell you that. Then we've got our fairy tale forest here. You remember that animatronic from the beginning. And we've got everything here. And here we've got the tower. And we've got some slides and swinging ship. It's an okay swinging ship. Definitely good for the size of the machinery. And then here are the jumpers. Like these jumpers and those slides. These were our first rides in Europe on this trip. So that's something that you can appreciate for that. And these jumpers, my thoughts on these are, if the butterflies are a credit because they're listed on the roller coaster database, these should probably be a credit, but the butterflies, I'm not sure if they're a credit, but either way, the ultimate answer is RCDB is wrong. And we've got a pretty standard looking bumper boats attraction. It doesn't look like it has any water cannons, so I guess like Mundo Divertido effectively was, because that had no water cannons operating even though it had them on there.